Hi folks, Peter Lawn here. Today I'm going to show you how to create a dome building in No Man's Sky using Blender. This part 1 video will create a perfect half circle dome using my No Man's Sky utility plugin called NMSUtil. This utility is an add-on plugin for Blender that I developed using Python code and is downloadable from the GitHub at the following URL. It has a bunch of modules in it that allow you to do various object manipulations within Blender, but this part 1 tutorial is going to focus on one of the modules called Object Circle Creator. This tutorial is for those users who are already familiar with the Blender software and interface and have already successfully installed the No Man's Sky Base Builder plugin by Charlie Banks, as well as my NMSUtil plugin. You should also be familiar with how to import-export bases to and from the No Man's Sky game to Blender and back using the Save Game Editor by GoatFungus. If you're not familiar with this process or these utilities, please see my other videos using Blender with No Man's Sky on YouTube that walk you through this information. Making domes of any kind is fun and easy using these techniques. Let's make sure we have Blender set up so we get the same results as you follow along in this tutorial. Ideally, we want to start with a fresh new scene like this one. We'll make sure our 3D cursor is positioned at the center of the scene by hitting Shift+C. And by the way, if you have a default scene with a camera and a light and a cube, get rid of those items, just highlight them all and hit delete. Make sure your toolbar is visible in the 3D window. With the mouse cursor in the 3D area, use the T key to toggle the toolbar visibility. We'll also make sure we are in box select mode. We do this by hovering our mouse cursor over the select box icon up at the top left here, then left mouse click and drag down to the select box option and release the left mouse button. Finally, I want to make sure our transform orientation is set to global up here in the center of our 3D screen and that our pivot point is set to the 3D cursor. We'll use the No Man's Sky Base Builder plugin to drop down a concrete glass floor piece at the 3D cursor location. You can literally use any object, it doesn't have to be a floor or a wall piece. With the floor piece selected, we will switch to the NMSUtil plugin and expand the Object Circle Creator menu. You'll see there's a bunch of options here, but the first thing you need to do is specify how many floor piece objects you want to make into a circle. In the Objects in Circle value, change the count to 20 and click the Setup Reset button. The first thing you'll see is a reference circle which shows you the size of the circle of objects that will be created based on your quantity of objects. In my case, it will create 20 floor pieces in a perfect circle. If you want to adjust the size, just change the number and click Setup Reset button again. We also want to change the orientation of the floor piece along the reference circle. So we do this by clicking the X-axis and to reposition it the way I want. Once I am satisfied with the orientation, I click Create to create the perfect object circle of 20 pieces. If you zoom in a bit, you can adjust the gaps between the pieces by adjusting the distance to center. You can fine-tune the increments of movement by clicking and dragging to the center value here, and in my case I'm going to put it down to 0.10, then hitting the less and greater than arrow buttons to adjust each panel's distance to the center of the circle. With our perfect circle created, I'm going to delete our original reference floor piece, then switch to top-down orthographic view by hitting numpad 7 on the keyboard. I'll group select the lower pieces by left mouse click and drag over them and then deleting them by hitting the delete key. Now we're going to rotate our half circle of glass floors by 90 degrees upright. We do this by making sure we have all items selected, hit the R key to rotate followed by the X key for the axis rotation, and then we can type 90 followed by the Enter key to complete our 90-degree rotation. We will now switch back to top-down view, numpad 7, making sure we have all objects selected. We will hit Shift+D to duplicate the whole bunch. Follow this by the R key for rotation, and then I'm going to show you a cool trick to do rotational math. Just type in equals 360 divided by, that's the / key, 20, followed by the Enter key. This will give us a precise rotation of 18 degrees, which is 360 divided by the 20 floor pieces in our circle. By the way, you could have just typed out 18 if you knew the exact angle to rotate, but it's cool to know you can use the equal sign and do some math as part of any transform operation. We can now use the Blender's shortcut key for duplicate last command, which is the Shift+R key to duplicate our copy and rotate action. We can hit the Shift+R combination as many times as we need to complete the circle. And now we have a perfect half circle dome. And that's simply as easy as it gets. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 2, where we're going to dive into building sort of the exact same thing, except we're going to use the object along curve module to do that and make a little bit more of a unique shape to our dome. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the other side.